This is the Ricoh GR IV, the latest in the company's lineup of photographers' compact cameras with a fixed 28mm lens that goes all the way back to the film era. Despite the fact that it has a new 26-megapixel sensor, likely the same one from the Sony a6700 or Pentax K3 Mark III, the specs don't tell the whole story. There's a lot of user experience improvements here that go a long way to fixing some of the problems that GR3 owners may have had with it. Let's start with the physical upgrades. It's a bit smaller in each dimension, which can be a bit hard to see, but it's instantly noticeable if you pick it up after holding the 3. It's also got a better stabilization system, which can move in 2 extra dimensions, giving it, funnily enough, 2 extra stops of improvement. They've also updated the lens, which Ricoh says should make it a little bit sharper in the corners, and in our experience, makes it a bit faster to deploy. And while it's not weather sealed, they say the new design should suck in less dust when it's retracting and extending. Any dust that does get in should have a bit of a harder time sticking to the sensor because of a new anti-fouling coating, especially when it's shaking around at startup. The real difference though is in the shooting experience, starting with the controls. Ricoh has brought back the plus and minus rocker, which gives you direct, if a little easy to bump, access to exposure compensation. They've also swapped the rear jog lever with a standard clickable command dial. By default, pressing in on it gives you access to the customizable adjustment menu, which lets you control all of your most important settings using a single hand. In terms of software, Ricoh has improved the program auto mode, making it very similar to Pentax's hyper program mode. You can now override it, using either dial to push it into aperture or shutter speed priority, and you can reset it back to program using the mode dial locking release switch. Speaking of the mode dial, it now gains a setting for the snap focus priority mode, which makes it a bit easier to use the company's famous zone focusing emulating snap focus system. Basically, it lets you use one dial to control the distance you want to focus at, and the other dial to control how deep you want your depth of field to be, and it'll adjust your settings accordingly. From the time I've spent with it though, one of the biggest changes is to the battery. The GR3 was only rated to get 200 shots per charge, which meant you generally had to carry a spare or two with you for all but the lightest days of shooting. And while the GR4's battery isn't massive by any stretch of the imagination, it should get you about 25% more shots. You'll also have more room to store those images thanks to a generous 53GB of internal storage. For most photographers, that'll probably mean that you won't have to use an external card, which is good because it's now got a micro SD card slot instead of a normal size one. That's probably to make room for the bigger battery and a smaller body though. Ricoh says that the new processor and image engine help produce more natural colors and more sophisticated noise reduction. But I think one of the biggest changes is to how snappy this camera feels. In our experience so far, the autofocus is much quicker, especially in low light and more difficult situations. Of course, we'll have to wait until we've spent more time with it to give any final conclusions, but it feels like an improvement so far. Finally, if you're one of the people disappointed that the GR4 doesn't bring back the flash from the GR2, Ricoh said that some of its users really cared about having one, while others didn't care at all, but everyone thought the size was important. So they came up with everyone's favorite thing, a compromise. This compact flash is rechargeable, so it won't put a dent in your camera's battery, and while it doesn't use TTL, when paired with the GR4, it's aware of the camera's focus distance and exposure settings, so it can operate in an automatic mode. It's compatible with older GR cameras, but you'll have to use it in manual with those. All that leaves is the price. By itself, in the US, the GR4 is $1499, which is a long way off from how much the GR3 cost when it launched in 2019. But if you looked at buying one of those recently, you know that the price has gone up with 5 years of inflation. Add on tariffs, and you're starting to see how we ended up with this. The flash is an extra $119 if you choose to add it on. There are cheaper third-party models available, but they probably won't be as compact or automatic. Speaking of accessories, the wide-angle adapter and optical viewfinders from previous GR cameras are still compatible, but to use this, you'll need a new adapter ring. We're looking forward to spending a lot more time with the GR4, and there will be a full review coming to DPReview.com in the coming weeks. In the meantime, we'd love to hear what you think of the camera, especially if you're a current GR user. Do you think this is enough to make you upgrade? And are you just excited to see more compacts hitting the market? Let us know in the comments below and over on the DPReview.com forums. We'll see you around.